Hello guys, good day everyone, and you're welcome to my YouTube channel once again. And in today's tutorial I want to take you guys on how to model an ice cream cart from start to finish. So let's kickstart as you follow me. So the first thing we'll see in Blender interface is a cube, and first of all delete this cube by selecting the cube by left clicking, and on your keyboard you press delete. So now I'll just show us how to navigate around the Blender interface. First thing, I'll show you how to pan your screen. So by how to pan your screen, you hold shift and your middle button. That way you can move your screen sideways. To rotate your screen, you use only the middle button, which is your scroll button, to rotate your screen. And to zoom in and out, you hold control to zoom in and out. You hold control to zoom in and out, and middle button, hold control and middle button to zoom in and out. Now okay, what we have here is called the manipulation tools. We have our move, our rotate, and our scale. This helps us to transform our object to any form we want to. Okay, now let's bring in an object into our Blender scene. To add an object to your Blender scene is very simple. You type Shift A on your keyboard. That's the shortcut key, Shift A, or you come to this point we have add and you say add, and we go to mesh, and we click cube. Now we have add our cube to our scene, and okay, now let's start modeling the ice cream container. So first of all, to go to edit mode on your keyboard, you press tab for edit mode. Now we are in edit mode. So to go out of edit mode to back to our object mode, you click tab again. So there's another way of doing that. You can come to this place that we have object mode while your box is selected by left clicking on it. Come to this place that we have object mode, click on this arrow downwards and say edit mode, and now we are in edit mode once again. So now what we have vertices. These points here are called vertices. As you can see, these points are called vertices. If you come to this selection, this is what we call edge selection. These are edges, and this other one is face selection. So this is a face. So to select multiple vertices or faces or edges, you hold shift. You hold shift to select multiple vertices or faces. So on your keyboard, if you press 2, that's for edge selection, 3 for face selection, 1 for vertex selection. And on your notepad, if you press 1, you go to front view, or you come to this place. If you press this place, see we have left view here. If you click again, front view. If you click at the Z, it goes to top. If you click at the Y, it goes to the back view. So you can navigate around your projection window from this point also, or you use 1 for front on your notepad, 3 for right view, and control 1 for back view also. So now let's start our modeling. Okay, modeling is very simple because first thing you should understand in modeling is the flow of the object. So we want to model an ice cream cart. Totally speaking, a cube looks more like a box form, more like an ice cream container. So we are going to use this cube, not using cylinder. Okay, now let's select this face and come to the transform, move to, and let's move this. Select this other face and move this. Let's select again and move. I think this is okay for our box. So now what we want to do now, we want to add some loop cuts. So to add a loop cut to our cube here, we click Ctrl arrow to add loop cuts, Ctrl arrow to add a loop cut. But now we don't want to add a loop cut now, but I want us to add a loop cut this way, not this other way, this way. So you can move your mouse up and down. You move it up, it will come to this place. You move it down while your hand still be as Ctrl arrow. So now let's left click to release, and you see an arrow facing upwards and downwards. That shows that you can either move this loop cut upwards or you can move it downwards, but I want my loop cut to be upwards. So I bring it to this extent and I left click to activate that. So now what I want to do next is that I want to select these faces. Press 3 on your keyboard for face selection. I want to select all these faces around and make some extrusion. So to extrude that is very simple. Select all the faces by holding shift, like I said earlier, to select multiple faces, or you can also hold alt and select one face. So it totally selects all the faces around this cube. So I love doing things very easy, so I'll hold alt and select one face and it automatically selects all the faces around. So now we want to extrude. So how do we extrude? There are two ways of extrusion. The shortcut is E to extrude, or you come to this place, this box here where you have extrude region. But I want to extrude by just clicking E. So you click E on your keyboard and S to scale. E and S. So now we have something like this. I guess it's too big, so I want it to be a little bit smaller. So I will say S again and push my mouse inwards a little bit to this extent. Okay, I think this is pretty cool. So what I want to do next, okay, let me select this face and bring this downwards a little bit. Downwards a little bit. Okay. It's looking nice, but let me bring it downwards again. I want it to be kind of boxy, a square shape, not rectangle. Okay, we are good to go now. So what I want to do now, I want to extrude this portion downwards, this face downwards, and scale it. I want to have like a sink inside, like a sink. So I will say E again for extrusion and say S to scale. So release and push inwards a little bit on the Z axis, push downwards. So this is pretty okay. Okay, this is okay. So what I want to do now, I want to add edge loops, more loop cuts. So I want to create a cavity, like a hole in here for our ice cream to be inside. So how to do that? Like, see the same way I showed us. Control arrow on our keyboard, control arrow. Okay, control arrow to add a loop cut. So I'll add just one loop cut here first and drag to this point and say left click to activate. Now if you watch now, let's zoom in, you will see that my loop cut is slanted this way. So how to fix that? I want it to be very straight and aligned. So my lookup is selected already, so I will say S Y, scale on the Y axis, and 0. No, S X on the X axis and say 0. So now our loop cut is now straight. So let me add another loop cut here. Control arrow to add a loop cut again, and let's shift in to this point. If you watch, this one also is still slanty, it's not looking straight like this. So for us to straighten it is very simple. S on your keyboard and X on the X axis and say 0. Now it's now looking very straight. So we can move it towards this other one a little bit, and now we'll do the same thing for this other side of our cube. So we'll create another 2 loop cuts here. So follow me as we proceed. Control arrow to add a loop cut and push to this extent, and let's stop here. Okay, let's move it to this point and stop here. And if you watch now, it's still the same thing. This one is kind of slanty also, it's bent, it's not straight. So let's straighten it on the Y axis. So S to scale, Y and 0. So it's now straightened. So let's create another loop cut here at the center here. So control arrow to add a loop cut, bring it to this point here, So into this point, let's go into this point and say activate. Now let's straighten it. S to scale on the Y axis, so click Y and 0. So now we have a straightened loop cut. Let's create another loop cut here. Control arrow to create a new loop cut in here, and say S to scale, Y and 0. So we have 3 loop cuts here. So what I want to do, I want to select all these loop cuts around. So to select multiple loop cuts, you hold shift and alt, then click on the next one, because we've selected this one already. So you hold shift and alt again to select this one. So now we've selected these 3 loop cuts around. So what I want to do, I want to create a new loop cut beside it. So I don't want to go through that process of control arrow again. So what I want to do is that I want to bevel this 3 loop cuts. So we have 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So now Control B to bevel on your keyboard, Control B, and you see we'll have another loop cut. So now your hand stay on Control B, try to push inwards so they become smaller. Okay, I think this is perfect now. It's perfect for us. Okay, now I think this is perfect. Okay, I want to do something now. Let me select this, hold alt, select this one, hold shift and alt to select the second one, and let's move this to this point. Let's move this to this point. This will be the smaller sink for the ice cream, and this will be the bigger sink for the ice cream. Okay, now let's move. Now let's add one more edge loop here. Control arrow, add one more edge loop here. So this loop cut will demarcate this sink from this sink. So now let's add one here. So now this loop cut now will demarcate this sink from this sink. Okay, I'll add another loop cut here again. Control arrow, bring to this point, bevel this one. You can bevel one loop cut, Control B to bevel, make it smaller. Try to follow the other one. No, Control B. Okay, now you are good to go. So now I have this kind of looks. So what I want to do now, I want to go to my face selection, 3 for face selection. I want to select these faces here and this face, and I want to extrude them upwards like a form of cover for our ice cream to sink in. So before doing that, I want to extrude these 2 face downwards. So and if I extrude this face downwards, we will not be able to see this extrusion down. So let's go to our wireframe mode. To go to wireframe mode is very simple. Alt Z on your keyboard, click Alt Z on your keyboard. Now we are at wireframe, whereby we can see inside our cube, inside our box also. So these 2 faces have been selected. So we say E again to extrude, E for extrusion. Then move your mouse downwards, and let's move to this extend, and let's stop here. And let's go back to our viewport mode, which is Alt Z again, Alt Z again, so we can see our viewports clearly now. So we have this cavity in here for our ice cream, and now let's select these faces. So while holding shift, select these 4 faces. So now what I want to do now is that we want to extrude this face upwards. So now E again on your keyboard to extrude upwards, E. So you can release by right clicking, and so you can have a uniform move upwards. Then select, then move with this grid here, with this gizmo on the Z axis, then move upwards. Let's push downwards a little bit, so it looks like this. Let's push downwards so it looks like this. So what I want to do now, I want to select this face and move it like this to show that our ice cream is opened. where our ice cream is open, not that. Can move this way, select this and move this way. So our ice cream cart is looking nice, pretty cool, and gradually we'll begin to add some details to this cube as well. So we can really do a lot in here. We can really do a lot. We can really do a lot. Okay, so what I want to show us again, I want to create something here for our cups to be. I want our cups to be in this place. Our cups to be in this place. So for us to create that, it's very simple, and I will show you how to. Instead of, okay, now let's press tab on our keyboard. Tab on our keyboard. And now we are on tab. Now we are on object mode, and we can see now we are not seeing our edges, like the corners of our cube, very well. We are not seeing it very well. So to see it very well, now you come to where we have overlays. Come to this point, we have overlays. Click on overlays and go to geometry and activate wireframe. So now we can see our edges properly and they are clearly. So what I want to do now is that I want to create a new cube in here, so where we can place our cup. So now let's bring our cursor to the top of this place. So how to bring your cursor to the top of this box is very simple. You hold shift and right click. So hold shift and right click. See, I can move my cursor to anywhere. Where I move my cursor to is where the object I will add will be placed. So I want to place my object on the top of this cube. So I hold shift and right click on that portion I want to place my object. So now let's add an object. Very simple. Shift A again, go to mesh, click on mesh and click on cube. And now we have our cube placed on where we want it to be. So now let's scale. S to scale uniformly, S to scale. Now let's push our cube upwards and let's scale on the y-axis on this green arrow facing here. So that's the y-axis. The red denotes the red axis, while the blue arrow denotes the z-axis. So it's now x, y, z. Now let's proceed. Let's scale on the y-axis. S to scale, and on your keyboard you click Y. So that shows we want to scale on the y-axis. Still the same here too. Let's scale on the x-axis. S to scale and X on your keyboard to scale on the x-axis. I think we have a good shape now. Now let's scale a little bit on the z-axis, a little bit, X and Z. Okay, now let's push our cube downwards to fit inside our container. I think we are good to go now. What I want to do next, okay, let's leave our cube like this. We'll still add some bevels, and I want to also do some bowling. So I'll be showing us some bowling operations later on when we have created the cup. Then we'll bowl out this place also. Okay, so what I want to do now is that I want to create a handle for this cart here. So very simple. Bring your cursor to this place here, to this front here, and say shift right click. Now I bring my cursor to this point now, and I can say shift A. But there are other ways of doing that. If you come to this place that we have add cube, okay, let's select this first, and we see something like looking like a grid here. This shows that we can create a cube in this place. It's very simple and very easy now. So now we can select this one, and then let's create our cube here. Very simple. So now let's draw our cube. You left click and try to draw something very small, and now you push out. Now go back to your select mode. So as you can see, it's now very simple. So we can also scale it on the y-axis, X and Y to scale. Let's scale it a little bit on the z-axis, X and Z. Okay, now it's now pretty cool. So now let's go to edit mode. I want to shape this cube to look like a handle. So click tab on your keyboard. Very simple to do that, and let's say control arrow to add an edge loop here. Shift to this point, and now let's go to face mode. click 3 on your keyboard for face selection, and let's extrude that region. E to extrude on the Z axis, and let's say OK. So what we want to do now, let's add another loop cut here. So we create this other handle. So Ctrl arrow to add the loop cut, just one, and you move it down to this point, and you left click to activate that. Now rotate your screen 3 again on this face, on your face selection, 3 for face selection. Now let's go to our front view. Okay, no, let's just stay on this view, and let's extrude again. E for extrusion, and let's move, and let's stop this way. Now let's push for it to align with this other place too. Okay, now we've done that. Let's say tab, and now let's go to our front view. You can click 1 on your keyboard to go to front view. On your keyboard, on your notepad, your number notepad, 1. Now let's push this way. Let's make it straight. We can push this. Okay, let's leave first. So now we have our handle, but our handle is looking so sharp. I want it to be very smooth. So what I want to do, I want to add few loop cuts before we add something that is called subdivision surface. So now go to edit mode, tab to edit mode. Let's add 1 loop cut in here. Okay, let's add 2. So to add 2 loop cuts, you scroll up and left click. Now we've added 2 loop cuts. Now let's add 4 loop cuts here in this place, in this region. So Ctrl arrow to add a loop cut, then scroll your mouse button. Okay, let's just add 4 for now. Do the same here. Ctrl arrow, let's add 1, and let's push it down here to tighten that up. Add 1, let's push it down here, and Ctrl arrow again, add 4 here. Ctrl arrow and add 4 here. Now let's see what happens. Now we want to add a modifier called subdivision modifier. What that does is that it divides these edges into 2, so to create a smooth surface. So now what we want to do now, let's come to this point where we have this spanner sign. This here it says modifier properties. So you click on that, and click on this place that we said add modifier. Now come and scroll down and go to subdivision surface. Click that on, and our mesh changes and it becomes a little bit smoother. So we can cage this first for cage, and now let's see. It's not looking that bad, but let's add some few loop cuts. Ctrl arrow, add 1 here and push inside. Do that for the second handle. Ctrl arrow, push inside. Do that. Okay, let's add 1 more here. Ctrl arrow to add 1 here. Ctrl arrow again to add 1 here. So our hand is looking pretty cool, not too bad. So we can go to our object mode by clicking tab again. Now we're in object mode. So right click on this object selected and go to shade smooth. Now our handle is smooth. It's very smooth now. It's not looking that sharp like this cube out here. So we can select this and push inwards to this extent. Push inwards. This is our handle. Now let's go to our front view. Click 1 on your notepad keyboard, and so I normally navigate around my front view and my left view with that kind of flow sign that is under the escape button in your keyboard, where you have escape. That sign that looks like an AC current. Some persons call it the free sign. So if you click that, it gives you this chart where you can navigate around your front view. Click it again, your right view, your back view, your top view. That key that is beneath the escape key. So if you click on that key, you can navigate around your front view and side view and other perspective. I think Okay, let's put it, align it straight. Yeah, it's now straight. It's good to go now. So what we want to do now is that I want to create the wheels for our, the tires and wheels for our ice cream cart. So by doing that, let's bring our cursor to this point here. Rotate your screen, bring your cursor to this point here. We'll put the tires at the front. Create two tires. We'll create one first and duplicate it. So Shift A. Let's bring in a cylinder. It looks like a tire. Okay, now the cylinder is facing down here. Now our cylinder is like this. So now what I want to do is that, let's push it forward. I want to rotate this cylinder so that it will be facing us. So to do that, you say arrow to rotate and X on the X axis, and you click 90. No, let's do that on the Y axis. Sorry, you say arrow to rotate Y and 90. Okay, now we've done that, arrow X and 90. So now let's scale on the X axis. S to scale, X. So let's scale it to look like a tire, and I think this is okay for us. This is okay now. And now let's try to push it inwards, close to our box here, our cube. So now it's looking like this. Let's push outwards a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now let's push this backwards. So you can decide to increase your tires, but I don't want to increase it that much. I want it to look very perfect. So what I want to do next is that select this and go to edit mode, tap for edit mode, and select this face. Go to press 3 on your keyboard for face selection. Okay, so what I want to do now, I want to hide. Okay, let's go back to object mode, tab. So what I want to do now, I want to hide all these other objects. This one, I want to hide this, and I want to work on just only this cylinder. So to hide every unselected object, select this one, the one you want to work on, and say Shift H on your keyboard. Shift H on your keyboard. So now we have hide unselected, but to unhide them back, you do Alt H on your keyboard. So we have unhide them, and now we can see all, but we want to work on just this alone. So select this by left clicking on it and Shift H to hide unselected. Now let's go to our edit mode to model our tire. So tab to edit mode, 3 for face selection. Select this face, rotate, select this other face, and you delete. Then press delete on your keyboard. When you press it on your keyboard, a note will come, a delete menu will come, and you say face delete. So now we've deleted that face. So what we have here is just this this kind of looking like a wheel. So we can select all these. You can say A. So we can select all these, all of them, or we just window drag on them and select all. So what I want to do, I want to extrude this and extrude this along normal. So to extrude along normals, I want to create something like a tire. So I'll come to this place that we have extrude. I'm not using extrude region for this now. So there's a small arrow down here. Try to click on it, and a menu will come up, and extrude chart will come up. Move down and come to extrude along normals, and click on extrude along normals. So now you see a kind of arrow and a small circle in front of it, and so click on that circle and drag outwards, so we are extruding outwards. Okay, this is nice to be a tire. So what I want to do next, so come to your selection and deselect. So you can select this and select all these, and what I want to do, I want to create a wheel. So I don't want to start creating a cylinder again. So I want to use this cylinder to create a wheel. So to select all this loop here, now you hold Alt and select one of them. So now you select all this loop around here. So now I want to duplicate this. So I want to duplicate this selection. So you do shift to duplicate in Blender is shift D to duplicate. So shift D, we've duplicated, and I want us to release our hand. So you right click to release. So now what I want to do again, I want to separate what I've duplicated from this cube here, from this our tire. So I will say P, and I'll click on selection. So now I've duplicated it and separated it. So if I say tab again for our edit mode, so now we have this here and this. So Ctrl Z back. So I can rename this. I can select this now to rename an object. F2 to rename an object. Select the object by left clicking and say F2, and this object name comes up, and we say tire, TYRE for tire, and we select this other one and say F2 again, and we call this, okay, wait, okay, this is our tire, and now let's say F2 again, and we say wheel and enter. So now we have tire and wheel. So what I want to do now, I will select this tire and go to edit mode, and let's work on it. So now let's go to edge loop and add some loop cuts in here to make this tire popped up. So now let's do Ctrl arrow on this side, and let's put 3 edge loops. Okay, let's make it 4 loop cuts, 4 loop cuts for that, and let's scale uniformly. So S to scale, so it's now looking like this. If you say S, it looks like this. Let's scale a little bit. X, is it looking pretty cool? Yes, S to scale. Okay, yes, okay, S that. Okay, now let's say Ctrl arrow again to add 4 loop cuts here, and let's go to our move tool, push outwards a little bit. Okay, we've done that now. So it's now looking like a tire shape. Let's come to this place also and say Ctrl arrow and add 4 loop cuts here too. One is 4, you left click and stay on that mode, push slightly outwards. Now let's review our tire. You can also select this tool here and say Alt to select around and Shift Alt to select, and let's see how it looks like. Let's push outwards again. Okay, yeah, it's looking cool now. We can come here again and select these 2 middle loop cuts, hold Alt to select around and Shift Alt again to select another loop cut. So now let's push outwards a little bit. So our tire is looking like this. Okay, we are good to go now. So now that's for that now. So now let's go back to our object mode and select our wheel and say edit mode. Let's go to tab. Now click on tab for edit mode. So now let's go to face selection and hold Alt and select all these faces. So now let's extrude. Go back to your extrude along normals, click on it and extrude inwards. Extrude inwards. Now we're extruding inwards for our wheel. So we extrude inwards a little bit to this point and we deselect by coming here. So now we have something looking like this. So now let's add few loop cuts in it. Ctrl arrow and let's just add 4 loop cuts to make it more smoother. Now we've done that. Now we've created our wheel, and let's come back to, now let's, on our keyboard, let's go to front view. Okay, let's go to the right view. Now we are in the right view, so now we can see. Okay, let me use this point and go to the right view. Yes, okay, now we're on the right view, right perspective view, and you can press 3 on your keyboard for that. But if you are using a not if you're not using a standard keyboard, and you're using a small keyboard, either your laptop, you can come to where you have this edit, click on edit and go to preference, click on preference and go to input, click on input and say emulate notepad, activate that and default to advanced numeric in, and come to save and load and save and load, and you can exit. So automatically now if you press 1 and 2, you're on the right, on the right view. Okay, now I said 1 on your keyboard for front view, 3 for your right view. So now come to the right view by clicking 3. So now you're on the right view. So now let's bring our cursor to this point that we have, this small yellow point here. So shift and right click to bring our cursor to that region, and let's say shift A, go to mesh and bring in a cylinder. And now we want to rotate this cylinder, so arrow X, arrow Y 90, arrow Y 90 to rotate the cylinder. So it's now facing us on the right view. So we say S to scale uniformly, and we scale to this point. Let's scale to this point, and I think this will be okay for the wheels. Let's get to this point. So now let's rotate. Now let's rotate, and now let's go to our front view. Let's go to our top view, and now let's push this way. Alt Z for wireframe. Now let's scale on the x-axis, so it's aligned with our wheel. I think this is okay now. So we can push this way, scale again also a little bit, push like this. So now let's rotate. Alt Z again. So see what we have now. This guy is looking, and I want us to scale again because I want this stuff to be very small. Okay, let's leave it this way. Okay, now let's go to our edit mode, tap for edit mode, and control arrow to add 2 loop cuts, 1 loop cut first, control arrow. Now let's bevel that loop cut, control B to bevel, and let's make it very tiny. I think this is tiny enough. Now let's add 1 more loop cut to it again, control arrow to add the loop cut to it. So now let's press 1 or come to this point and say vectors mode, so we can select all these now, and this we can right click on that. But what I want to do now, I just want us to do it very simple. So now let's do Ctrl Z back, and let's go to our object mode. Now let's scale on the x-axis again. I want it to be kind of very smaller like this. Okay, this is pretty cool. Go to object mode again, edit mode, tap to edit mode, and let's do face selection. So we can come here, face selection, let's select 1, skip 1, select this other one, select this, rotate, select this, select, just do that round and select this, give 1 gap, select and select. So what I want to do now, I want to extrude these regions. So come back here to the extrude along normal. So we are still on extrude along normals. Now let's extrude this, so it's going to look like this, form of a spike, and extrude so that it goes inside, and you release your hands, come back to deselect, So we have something like this for our cartwheel tire. So now let's go to face selection and select this face. We can select this face also, and we can say E for extrusion, or we're not doing E for extrusion, because if you say E for extrusion, it's going to extrude on just one region. So let's go to face normal again, extrude along normals, click on that again and extrude. You can see if I say S, no, it's not working pretty cool. So I can say select this face, and let's come back here, click on that arrow down and say extrude individuals. Click on extrude individuals and let's see what happens. And now let's extrude, let's extrude again. So this is what we have now. So we have extruded individuals. So I can deselect. I can say S to scale. So I scale it this way. So I want to like deform it. So as you see now, those two sides are being scaled. I can say extrude normals again. Extrude individuals, sorry for that. Extrude individuals again and extrude outwards again. Guys, you can see we have extrude again, and let's deselect and let's scale again. S to scale. And you can see we are creating kind of it popped out here, adding some few details to our wheel. So now let's extrude once again. Okay, now let's extrude again and extrude individuals again and say extrude. So now let's push upwards and deselect. What we do now, we have to scale uniformly, S to scale, and push your hands inwards, and let's leave it this way. I think we are good to go now, and it's perfect like this. So what I want to do now is that I want to come to this point now and say I want to see this up, because if I should do some stuff, okay, let me just, as we proceed, we'll do that. I to insert, press I on your keyboard to insert, select that face again, I again, you left click, and I again, you left click. You can say I again to make it smaller and left click. So now I've sealed that up, and so now let's add some edges to this place. So we can come and do the same thing here too. I again, and say I again and push inwards, and let's close it one more time. I that, and now let's go to our edge selection, E for edge selection. I want us to add let me say loop cuts around these spikes, so that I will add subdivision surface to make it smoother also too, but I don't think that's necessary, but I just felt like I think I should do that. We can add, okay, road first. Okay, now let's add one loop cut here. Let's add here. You can scroll down to add multiple loop cuts, but I want to make this tutorial very simple. So now let's leave that for now, and let's go back to tab to object mode, and let's unhide every other object by clicking Alt H. Now Alt H to unhide. Now let's select our wheel. Let's select this other one and this, and let's push this outwards. So what I want to do now, I want to duplicate all these, select this and duplicate them, and then now mirror it and move it to this point. So we have two tires, but first I want to join this to this. So by doing that, you select this and Okay, let's not join for now. After we are done, we can join. So let's select all this and this, and let's say shift D to duplicate. You release, and let's move it down to this place. Okay, we are still having the same thing down here. um let's select this now. So I want to mirror it. So I want this face to be this other side. I want to like flip it, so I can say select all of them, and you right click and you say mirror, and you say X. Oh, sorry for that. You can say mirror and say Y global. So now it's now okay, let me get back for you to see again. Select all, you right click, and let's say, so because it's the same, so we are not seeing that effect that much. Now let's move it down this way. Let's go to our top view. So 7 for top view. Let's make it orthographic view. So now we can push it this way. We can go Alt Z to select all these, push a little bit. So let's just have that small space in here, just a little bit small space. You can select all this again and push. It needs to be very close to our model. Let's do the same here too, and let's push. Now let's go Alt Z back. Click this in case you're on for perspective view. And now this is what we have. So now I want to create a form of a shaft that's connecting these two tires. So by doing that, I can just bring my cursor here, or I can come to my left view here, come to my to my right view. Okay, let me say right view, and come to this place where it says add cube. Select that small arrow downwards. So let's pick add cylinder, and so this is what we have. So we can easily do our creation here. So we can just add a cylinder. Okay, so let's release. Just say add cylinder, and draw backwards. I don't think it's not working perfectly, so now let's go back Alt Z. Let's just add it manually, and let's see. Let's bring our cursor here, Shift A, and go to mesh and go to cylinder. Our cylinder is facing down, so now let's rotate our cylinder on the Y axis. We say arrow for rotate Y and 90. So we'll rotate that on the Y axis. Now let's scale, S to scale, and let's go to our right view, 3 on your notepad keyboard for right view. And now let's move this cylinder to this point. Let's see, it's here now. Okay, pretty cool. Let's scale a little bit. Okay, and now on our perspective view, let's Alt Z to see inside our cube. Now let's say S to scale on the X axis, S and X. So now we have connected these two together now, and it's pretty cool like this. Let's move this Alt Z again to see what we've done. I think it's looking so big. Now let's scale again, S to scale, so it looks very small. S to scale, to look very small. Alt Z again. Okay, let's just scale again, S to scale. I want it to be very small, I want it to be too big, and S on an X on the X axis. Alt Z. Let's see if it has come to this point. Okay, let's push this way. And now, so this is what we have now. You can see that's what we have now. That's what we are seeing. So we can push this inwards a little bit. No, select all the tires and wheels and push inwards, and push inwards to this point. Okay, I don't need to be touching the cube. Just give a little bit small space. I think this is okay for that now. Okay, select this, select this, select this and this, and just push inwards. Just push inwards on the x-axis. Okay, we have come to the end of this tutorial for part 1, and in part 2 I would be modeling the umbrella, and also the umbrella stand, the pole, and also I'll be modeling few cups, and maybe we'll model the ice cream itself. We'll just do some sculpting and just move some things also, and add some few details to the cube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe, like and comment on my YouTube channel.